So welcome guys, welcome to this free class on getting started with crypto trading using algorithms. All right, here's our agenda for today. So first of all, I want to get to know you guys a little bit, who's on the call, right? So I'm going to ask you guys a few questions so I can tailor this a bit towards you. Second of all, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself, the instructor. I'm the one that teaches this class. So I'll tell you a little bit about my background and why should you listen to me. Then we'll do a little introduction about Lumiwealth and a few different things, our YouTube channel, all that. Then we're going to get into why we want to use algorithms for trading. We'll talk about the companies that use algorithms. We'll talk about the tech that we use. We've spent a lot of time developing our technology, so we have some pretty good stuff for you. And then I'm going to walk you guys through some demos of how to do this, right? So I'll walk you through a few different demos of a few different algorithms that we have, kind of their performance, all that sort of thing, and actually you could see them trade live. And then we'll talk about the full course. If you guys are interested in continuing your learning, we do have an entire larger course on this topic that really gets into all the details on how to set this all up, gives you access to a lot of algorithms and that sort of thing. Okay, so let's kick it off. So first of all, let's get to know you guys a little bit, right? So who is on this call, right? So if you guys could type this out into the chat, what is your occupation? Do you know how to program? And if so, how long have you been programming? And then how much experience do you have with crypto? How long have you been trading crypto for, right? So I'm going to type this out here. DG, if you're having issues, so DG, if you're having issues, try refreshing your browser. Works much better on desktop. Okay, cool. All right, so I'll let you guys type this in here. So what is your occupation? Do you know how to program? And how much crypto experience do you have? Right. Right, and Mohammed's writing in here saying, Mohammed Alim, right? I got that. Awesome. Saying you're a program manager. This sounds great. Anurag, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Software engineer, no crypto experience. Alan says in cybersecurity, Python for 10 years. Well, you got some good Python experience. And small amount of crypto experience. Okay, cool. Very nice. All right. I'll let the rest of you guys write some of that stuff out. So it sounds like we have a bit more of an experienced crowd in terms of programming today, which is very nice. I've always found so our courses are very beginner friendly. By the way, I want to go out and say that to anyone who doesn't have programming experience, it's not mandatory, right? We actually will teach you from scratch, and especially with a lot of the AI tools that are available these days, it makes it much easier to get started with this stuff. You do not need to be a Python expert to do a lot of what we're doing here. However, if you do have that experience, if you are a software engineer and if you spent 10 years, developing Python, this is probably something you'll catch up to very quickly. So definitely, I always love working with people like that because I feel like you guys can build some pretty cool stuff pretty fast. I've seen some of our students in the past that have had this experience in coding. I've seen them make quite a bit of money doing this stuff. So definitely always like working with people with that experience. But again, beginner friendly course. It's not like you have to know how to code. This is we'll take you through, at least there's 1 or 2 days where we talk about kind of the fundamentals. We pretty quickly jump into specifically how to do all this kind of stuff. Right. So even if you do have a lot of experience, you're gonna get a lot out of it. But if you're new to this, we do kind of cover the basics. And again, these new AI tools that are out there, I think are a godsend, and they've enabled at least past students to go from being beginner programmers to doing some pretty impressive stuff. The most recent class I just taught, after 12 weeks, I've seen people build some really, really amazing bots after just 12 weeks using GitHub Copilot and ChatGPT. It's been pretty amazing. All right, so welcome, guys. Thanks for letting me know your background, and feel free to keep writing more details about yourselves, specifically, your occupation, your experience with crypto. But let me answer these questions for you, right? Let me tell you a little bit about myself. So my occupation, I'm the CEO of Lumiwealth. I also teach, I teach this class, the crypto trading class to teach people how to build algorithms for crypto. I also teach our algorithmic trading class, which basically is the same thing, but teaching you more geared towards stocks. We focus more on stocks, but also kind of touch a little bit on each asset class. So we kind of cover a little bit of options, a little bit of futures. But for the most part, our algo trading class is on stocks. And this class is really mostly about crypto. There are differences, right? There's a lot of overlap, but there's also some pretty important differences between trading crypto and trading stocks. I also have a background in finance. I got a master's in finance a couple of years ago. I've worked on Wall Street for, I want to say, a good 10 years now. It was a while that I was there. I actually helped build, if you guys are familiar with Voyager, I was employee number, I think 4 when I was there. When I joined that company, it was basically nothing. It was just a bunch of us with a dream and a WeWork. And we went from that to creating a $3 billion company at one point in time until the entire crypto market exploded. That's a different story. But it was pretty cool to help build a company that was worth, in the billions. I've also, before that, worked at a company called Greystone, spent a lot of time doing mortgage finance there. I think to date, that software that we built out has probably traded something like $100 billion worth of mortgages, which is pretty cool. So that's kind of my experience on the Wall Street side of things, mostly in tech. I also have a lot of programming experience. I've been coding for a little over 20 years. I'm not that old, so I started really young. I was like maybe 12 years old or something like that when I started to learn how to code. Kind of ages me a bit. It's longer than 20 years. I just had a birthday recently, But yeah, I've had a lot of experience in this. Name a programming language, I could probably do it. Python, Java, JavaScript, C++, C, Ruby on Rails, like name a programming language, I've probably done it. PHP, HTML if you call that a language, but I've done it all. To answer these questions here, what's my occupation? CEO. Do I know how to program? Yes, for a long time. And how much crypto experience do you have? I've been crypto for a while now. I think I got in somewhere around 2016, 2015 maybe. So I've been trading in and out of it for quite some time. It's made me quite a bit of money. I'll tell you that much. Have quite a bit of familiarity around the blockchain and all that. So if you have any questions, let me know. But yeah, so that's kind of my background and what this course is all about. Let me check in here and see if you guys wrote any more. I know, great. Okay, so let's start with a quick introduction. So I told you about myself. I've been programming for a long time. My passion really is all about how to make people money, right? This is something that I've always loved to do. It's something that the reason why I went to get my graduate degree in finance to begin with, my master's in finance, the reason why I did that is because I was always fascinated with money. I was always fascinated with investing and how to actually make people money doing this stuff. It was first started with just me, but then I started investing other people's money as well, made them good amounts of cash, and realized it's one thing. Oh, whoops, I deleted a bunch of these things. It's one thing to make yourself money in investing. It is, I think, much more rewarding making other people money in investing, and that's not just it's partly because I believe in actually being able to spread this, but it also does make you quite a bit more money in the long run when you help others to do this. There's a reason why hedge fund managers are much richer than individual investors, right? Because they're able to do this for a lot of other people, right? So that's basically what we started Lumiwealth for, right? So Lumiwealth is a company that we started almost 4 years ago now. And, where this came from was I used to work on Wall Street. I love investing. This is something I've always had a fascination with. And I just realized how big of an advantage these billionaires and these corporations have in the world of investing. It's crazy the amount of things that they're able to do that most people don't even have access to or haven't even heard of, right? And that really frustrated me, right? I didn't like the situation where, it really is the case where the rich get richer, but it's not even just the rich get richer because they have more money, but they also get richer because they have access to investments other people do not, right? So I think that the only way to bridge that gap is through technology, right? You could have, we would need to have literally hundreds of millions of investment advisors if we wanted to actually do this properly with the amount of human beings in this world, right? I think the only way that we can actually get everyone in this world a decent return and everyone actually makes some good amount of money is if we use technology to do it, right? So that's what Lumiwealth is all about, right? We've started off with teaching. That's what this course is. We have a bunch of classes on this, but we also are building out an entire software suite on this stuff. I can show you very briefly. This is our new website that we're developing where you can actually go in, see some of our algorithms, how they've done. For example, here we have our Ethereum trend following algorithm. Over the past 2 years would have made 214% returns if you had put your money into it, for example, or a Bitcoin trend following algorithm, which would have made you 108% returns over the past 2 years. Very good returns if you consider the fact that Bitcoin is down 80%. So compared to the price of Bitcoin, we are smoking them. Or here, for example, Ethereum. Ethereum is beating Bitcoin by a little bit. Over the past 2 years, it's up 21%. Our algorithm would have done 214% over that same time period, right? So here's the blue is our algorithm versus the gray, which is the benchmark, in this case, Ethereum, right? Also better risk metrics as well, right? So either way, all this is to say is that we're working not only on teaching this stuff, but we actually do this in practice. We've had quite a few people go through this website. It's still closed off to the public for legal reasons because we need to get a license to do this. So, legally, we're not really allowed to give this out to a lot of people. I actually had a meeting today with some people that can help us get this license to actually sell this stuff. But the people that have gone through with this, I could tell you over the past month, I think we've made people 30 to 40% returns over a 1 month period to give you kind of an idea as to what we've been doing. So anyways, that's Lumiwealth. We teach this stuff, but we also do this in practice, and we're slowly becoming more and more of a software-based company as well. All right, so that's what we do. We also have a YouTube channel that I strongly suggest that you guys follow. I'm going to click on this. I'll show you guys what I mean. Here's our YouTube channel. And let me share the link with you guys inside of the chat here so you guys can click on it and go to it. I'd strongly suggest that you guys go here, subscribe, hit that bell button to get notifications because we do give out a lot of free stuff here. You can watch a lot of our free classes in here. You can see some of our strategy demos. Right, here's a couple of demos that we've ran if you want to watch more of them and kind of see what they've done. We've interviewed a lot of people in the industry. This is, for example, a friend of mine who runs a decentralized exchange called Cent Finance. These guys, I think, are valued at tens of millions of dollars. I spoke to him this weekend. He's planning to raise like 10 million bucks for his next round. I interviewed John Ewing, who's someone who manages a hedge fund in Toronto. He has about a $600 million assets under management. I think probably a lot more than that now, given it's been a pretty good market for him and especially his strategies. We have an interview here with Cliff Frazier. He's a guy that basically manages a real estate investment fund. Last time I checked, they're worth about $200 million. I think they're probably much bigger than that. So anyways, a lot of good interviews here. We also have testimonials here by past students. Don't just take my word for it. There's a lot of good testimonials in here. So if you want to watch some people and kind of what they thought about our classes and what they got out of it, we have a bunch of testimonials in here they can watch. Right. And there's a bunch of other stuff in here. So, check it out. Lots of good free content. Make sure you subscribe to us. There's lots of stuff in there. Then there's also our Discord channel. So for those of you that don't know what Discord is, and let me first of all put this link in here. So Discord, what it is it's basically this thing here. It's basically Slack, right? So Slack is kind of like this thing, this chat where you can talk with other people. This is the same sort of thing. You go into our Discord server, you can actually talk to a lot of our past students. You can talk to a lot of people that are kind of in the industry that have done other things. Some of the people in this chat, whether they like to admit it or not, are making a lot of money. So talking to them, I think is a really good place to learn and kind of figure out, what are the things that are going to help you do well in the algo trading world. So if you're interested in the space, I strongly suggest you join us on Discord and learn what they're doing, right? There's a lot of really good stuff there. Be part of our community, right? And then I also just want to remind you, please ask questions throughout this presentation. Don't leave them to the very end. We're going to have question and answers at the end of this presentation as well, but it's a lot more fun when you ask questions throughout, and it's a lot better when it's more interactive. I'm going to be bouncing back and forth like this here. I'm going to be checking the chat and seeing if you guys are asking any questions, and if there's anything I could clarify, or if there's anything you want me to dig deeper into, just let me know. All right. It's more fun when it's interactive, right? Okay, so let's talk about, why do you want to use algorithms to trade crypto, right? We could talk about the empirical evidence of this, and I've seen a lot of people make a crazy amount of money. There's institutions, if you look this up, algorithms make a lot of money in this space, right? But before we even get to that, right, let's talk about there's actual real reasons why it makes sense to use algorithms in crypto, right? So first of all, crypto is a 24-hour market, right? So because it is a 24-hour market, that means that you need to go to sleep, and that means that things happen overnight that could be pretty extreme events, right? So I always give this example. It was about a year ago now when this invasion happened with Russia going into Ukraine. Whatever your thoughts on that, it was a very significant event on the market, right? It's something that happened late at night. And I remember seeing Bitcoin prices fall something like 30% in a matter of hours, right? It was a very significant event. There's a lot of movement during that time. Now, if you had an algorithm, you could have easily taken advantage of that, right? If you had a trend following algorithm, for example, that I'm going to show you today, you could have taken advantage of that because it's very clearly a trend going on. You could have made some good money on the way down. And you could have also traded it using something like a mean reversion algorithm that would have helped you make money off of just the sheer amount of movement that was happening, right? But because you were probably asleep when that happened, I remember it was something like 2 o'clock in the morning on the East Coast, right? On your way to bed or something like that. Chances are you probably missed it, right? And you probably missed all that price action, and all that potential profit, went out the window, right? If you had an algorithm, you could have taken advantage of it, but as a human being, it's a lot harder to do that, right? So 24-hour markets, very good for robots. Robots do not sleep, right? Second of all, there's thousands of assets, right? So to keep track of every single crypto coin that's out there is very difficult for any human being. There's a lot of garbage out there, not going to lie. There was a thing I saw on Twitter recently that was like 95% of crypto is going to go to zero. I kind of agree with that. There's a lot of garbage out there. For those of you that are skeptical about the crypto market, I'm with you. The top coins: Ethereum, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Solana. I think those are probably here to stay, right? But then there's this whole host of other assets out there that are either just straight up scams or are projects that just won't succeed, right? Because it's a startup, right? In the world of startups, not everything succeeds, right? So there's going to be winners and there's going to be losers, right? But the thing is that how do you know which one is which, right? And how do you keep track of all these, right? If you go to websites, there's websites like Token Sniffer, right? Token Sniffer. This is one really good way to find, or at least get rid of things that are purely scams, right? So, they changed their website a little bit. This is not what it used to look like. So I guess we could search a token. I mean, there used to be actually like a leaderboard here. So I'm trying to find where that was. Okay, but let's say we type in like, Dogecoin or something, you could type in Dogecoin, right? It's even different specific. There's like the different addresses for it. Like if you know much about crypto, there's like several different Dogecoins. Some people try to like actually throw you off. But you go into here, search for it, and it'll basically tell you, okay, is this legitimate or not, right? This one, for example, Doge has a score of 0 out of 100, right? This is probably like a straight up scam, something that is named Doge, right? But has a different address than the normal Dogecoin. And it tells you, why does it think it's a scam? Well, there's not enough liquidity. There's at least 95% of it is burned in the last 15 days. It'll give you a lot of these specific reasons as to why a coin is probably like a straight up scam or not, right? So as a human being, this is going to be very difficult to do, to go through all this stuff, right? You just keep track of which one's out there, which one's good and which one's not. With an algorithm, you could actually build something that will literally go off and scour the internet for this stuff using websites like Token Sniffer and others. You could also, look at what's the social media value of it and that sort of thing. There are ways to determine this. And you can make like basically a little bot that invests in a lot of these smaller coins. And you don't need to be right that often, but if you're right about one of them, they could shoot up 10,000% in a week, and it can make you some really good amount of money, right? So in other words, right, these bots that we build are able to do these types of things that would be very difficult for a human being to do. You're not going to be researching 1,000 coins at once every week. That's ridiculous, right? But a computer can do that, right? It could be much faster, stay on top of these things, and even get in and out of them as these waves happen, right? There's a lot of trend following that happens within crypto, and you can catch the latest wave on a lot of these different coins, right? Just based off the news, based off of price action. There's a lot of really interesting things they could do there, right? So, okay, so thousands of assets. We could use technology to look at them. Crypto's 24/7, so we could be on top of it 24/7. There's also hundreds of exchanges, right? So, there used to be the case where you could actually make money just trading Bitcoin in arbitrage. So you could, for example, go to Binance, buy Bitcoin for 1,000, and then go to Coinbase and sell it for 1,100. You just made $100, and you can just do that in a circle and keep making money, right? So in other words, there's mispricing of assets between different exchanges, right? And there's furthermore, you could even use things in DeFi and whatnot to make even more money off that, right? But if you're to trade that manually, you're not going to catch this fast enough, right? But if you have an algorithm, you can actually be monitoring many different exchanges and seeing if there's any significant differences between any of them, right? Actually, I heard very recently, for example, Bitcoin in Nigeria is trading 30% higher than in the United States, right? You can take advantage of that. If you had a bot, you can automatically see that that's happening, take advantage of that, and make a profit very simply doing that sort of thing, right? And then also in crypto, trends change really fast, right? So, the way that crypto is structured, or the way that it has been moving, is, you could literally go, if you're trading all day, you're trying to make some money doing this, right? Walk away from your computer, go grab lunch, and Bitcoin could be down 10% from literally that 1 hour that you moved. And even more so for the bigger coins, right? So trends can change really fast. And, if you want to have a life, you probably want to have something set up so that you can take advantage of these trends, or at least not get caught up in them in a negative way, right? So basically, we can have algorithms that are constantly watching for these things and staying on top of them, right? So it's 24 hours, trades thousands of assets, look at hundreds of exchanges, looks at trends changing really quickly, and can adapt to things very, very fast, right? So in other words, it's superhuman, basically, right? Like what these algorithms can do is beyond human capabilities, right? Human beings can just simply not do this. You need to sleep. You cannot look at 1,000 coins every hour of every day. Like this is just not possible. So these algorithms can give you superhuman abilities, right? And here's just 4 different examples, but there's a lot more of them than just this, right? You know, if you can imagine, there's a lot of advantages to using software code to trade, right? Okay, so let me check to see if you guys wrote back anything. Okay. All right. So that's the theory, right? You could believe me or not, but I could tell you that I've personally made quite a bit of money doing each one of these things, right? But don't just take my word for it, right? There's a lot of other companies that are already doing this, right? So one example of a company like this is Renaissance Technologies, right? So Renaissance Technologies is a company run by someone named Jim Simmons, and I'm going to share with you the book about him. For those of you that do not know who Jim Simmons is someone who was a mathematician, and he invented basically one of the first algorithmic trading hedge funds in the world, right? This was back in like the 80s, I think, and this wasn't like a thing back then, right? Computers are just brand new. You know, we didn't really even have Windows back then, so it's kind of difficult to do this stuff. And he's this mathematician, and he had this idea to say, you know, what if we just got computers to trade for us instead of human beings doing it? So he set off to build one of the world's first hedge funds that does this, and ended up getting fabulously rich. If you look this guy up, Jim Simmons, he is, I think, #2 richest person on earth. He is one of the most successful hedge fund managers of all time. The only people that have made more money than them as investors is Warren Buffett and Ken Griffin. He is the third richest investor of all time. And by the way, Ken Griffin is also very big into this kind of stuff, into algo trading. This guy's worth, Jim Simmons, I believe, $28 billion, right? So if you're wondering whether this stuff works or not, and you're skeptical about algo trading, as you should be skeptical of anything in investing, especially in the crypto world. There's a lot of weird people out there. This is not one of those things to be skeptical of, right? Check out his book, The Man Who Solved the Market. It's a fantastic book. It talks about his story on how he basically went from being a mathematician to building one of the world's most successful hedge funds. These guys are making so much money, it's stupid. Like even just like the regular employees, like not even just Jim Simmons, like all of his employees that he worked with became really, 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 really rich, to the point that they were like buying like giant houses and forgetting that they existed. Like there's a story about one of the employees. He got a letter from the government, and they're like, "Oh, your house is built on an illegal property or whatever," and he's like, "I didn't even know I had a house there." It's a $10 million house built in some spot that wasn't legal to build houses, and he forgot that he even bought this house. $10 million, didn't care. You know what I mean? It is absolutely ridiculous how much money these guys made, and it's literally all doing algo trading, right? What they did is they built computers that could automatically trade stocks in their case, or they actually did stocks, they did Forex, they did futures. More recently, I think they're probably doing crypto too, because who isn't, right? But these guys have really made a lot of money. Last time I checked, they have $110 billion assets under management. By the way, they gave away all their investors' money back because they're making so much cash, they didn't want any more investor money. Because there's a limit, by the way, to how big you can get, right? So when a hedge fund gets really, really large, it gets harder and harder to make money. So what makes it really impressive is that these guys, I have 39% here, but the more recent figures is I think they probably make closer to 66% a year on average. In more recent interviews with Jim Simmons, he says the number's closer to 66% a year. Think about that, like 66% every single year for 30 years straight. This is on average. I'm not talking about a good year. I'm talking about an average year. That means a good year is like 300%. And that means a bad year. And by the way, I've heard these guys, I think they've only lost money like one quarter ever in all of history, which is insane. If you think about it, they went through the popping of the tech bubble. They went through 2008, they went through 2020, and they still like never lose money. They, even regardless of all the stock market was down 55% in 2008, and these guys still made money. 66% returns on average, right? It's absolutely insane. And not only is that impressive because it's a big number, but what's even more impressive is how large of a sum of money they're doing this on, right? So for example, I think last year, I think they made 120% on like returns on investment. That means with $100 billion, 120%, that means they made $120 billion in a year. Like, what the hell? That is crazy. Like, these guys are making a really ridiculous amount of money. And for those of you that don't have a background in finance and never really learned about compound interest, let me explain to you what this actually means in something that you would be doing, right? So say if you took $1,000 and you invested it at 10% a year for 30 years, that $1,000 would turn into 17,000 bucks after 30 years. Okay, that's good, right? I mean, that's why people tell you invest in the stock market. It's a good idea, right? If you're not going to do anything, right? I mean, at least invest in the stock market, right? $1,000 turns into 17,000 after 30 years. That's cool, right? That'll help you retire. If instead of 10% a year, you're making 39% a year, right? And actually, like I said, I think they're closer to 66, but let's call it 39, right? You're not going to have 4 times more money. It's not going to be $17,000 times 4, right? Because we're talking about 10% versus 39%, right? It's not going to be 4 times more money. Because of compounding, because it's 4 times more money every year for 30 years, instead of 17,000, you're going to end up with $19.5 million. Very, very significant difference between the two, right? This is the power of compound interest. Albert Einstein said compound interest is the most powerful force on earth. Well, this is a good example of that, right? The difference between you retiring with some amount of money, maybe 1,000, maybe it's closer to 100,000. You end up with 1.7 million if you invest in the stock market, versus you'd be 100 or 1.9 billion if you invested in this guy's fund, right? That is how much money these guys are making. It is absolutely incredible. It's not a coincidence that he is one of the richest people on earth, right? But he's not the only one, right? There's a lot of other companies that do the similar kind of thing, right? Two Sigma is one of them. Last time I checked, they manage about 60 billion in assets. They regularly beat the stock market, both on an absolute basis and on a risk-adjusted basis, if you know what I mean by that. It means that they're not just betting the house on things, that they're beating the stock market without doing crazy risky things, right? Citadel, this is run by Ken Griffin. I think number 30 on the Forbes list of richest people on earth. Citadel, this is, I believe this came out recently in the news that they had the most successful ever trade in all of history for a hedge fund. They made $16 billion on like one trade in a year. And what's most impressive with these guys is that they did it with only 26 people. They're a very small fund. They don't have that many people. It's all just software engineers that basically built this whole thing, and they're making $16 billion in a year, right? Like, that's absolutely ridiculous, right? Again, one of the reasons why Ken Griffin is one of the richest people on earth, right? Bridgewater, if you've heard of Ray Dalio, he's been in the news a lot lately. Very, very prominent investor, very smart guy. These guys, last I checked, were managing $140 billion. I think they either are or are pretty close to it as being the biggest hedge fund on earth. For a very long time, they're the biggest hedge fund on earth. They might still be there. They might have gotten beaten by Renaissance or someone else in the past year, but $140 billion, huge fund. If you ever read, and I'll actually show you a tweet by Ray Dalio after this, where he talks about, using algorithms as a major reason why these guys are doing so well. They work together with computers, and they basically use computers to inform their trading decisions, and is how they're able to really beat the market on a regular basis. D.E. Shaw is another one, right? These guys are making quite a bit of cash. For those of you that don't know who D.E. Shaw is, D.E. Shaw used to actually be, there's a very famous person that worked at D.E. Shaw, and I'll ask you guys if you know who this person is. Hint, one of his companies is actually on this page right here, right now. But one of the world's richest people actually used to work at D.E. Shaw. There's a history behind that. I'll let you guys think about it for a second and see if you guys know. Um, but I'll give you a second. One of the world's richest people used to work at DE Shaw, and that person is Jeff Bezos, right? So the story goes at DE Shaw, it's a New York-based fund. Jeff Bezos, if you ever read his biography, he used to work on Wall Street before he decided to start Amazon. Well, the way that happened is he got a job there, and DE Shaw is an algorithmic trading company, right? They're not a regular hedge fund; they're a hedge fund that basically uses computers to trade. And that's when Jeff Bezos, he joined there. He learned a little bit about code and basically was helping do a lot of the data science behind DE Shaw. And he figured out, based on all the data that they have, that um, the internet was growing at this crazy rate, and these guys are making a ton of money doing this stuff, right? So basically, he said, well, if the internet's growing this quickly, maybe I could start a business in this space. That's when he came up with the idea for this bookstore to sell things online. Bookstore became something much bigger than that, and now one of the world's richest people, right? So another case, being in this space, making trading algorithms, you're among some of the richest people on earth. Everything from Jim Simmons at Renaissance to Citadel. We're talking about Ken Griffin, D.E. Shaw. We had Jeff Bezos. Some of the richest people on earth are in these algorithmic trading situations. So you're definitely in very good company when you learn this type of stuff, right? So I promised you a tweet by Ray Dalio, and here's that tweet. So if you guys, by the way, he has some really good books. If you guys want a good person to learn from about investing, this is probably one of the best people. He has a lot of really good YouTube videos. He has a lot of really good stuff. He's, again, one of the world's richest people. Not as rich as Jim Simmons, mind you, right? But still worth like $19 billion, which is not bad, right? But here's a tweet that he put out the other day talking about how much he believes in trading algorithms, right? You can actually look this up. This was on September 28th, 2022, a couple months ago. And I made note of this because this resonated well with what we're doing, obviously. So he has this thing he puts out every day, principle of the day. And on this day in particular, his principle was convert your principles into algorithms and have the computer make decisions alongside you. And he continues. He says, if you can do that, you will take the power of your decision making to a whole other level. In many cases, you will be able to test how that principle would have worked in the past, or in various situations that will help you refine it. And in all cases, it will help you compound your understanding to a degree that would otherwise be impossible. Some pretty big words around algorithms from one of the world's richest people. He continues. He says it will also take emotion out of the equation. Algorithms work just like words in describing what you would like to have done, but they are written in a language that the computer can understand. If you don't know how to speak this language, you should either learn it or have someone close to you who could translate it for you. Your children and their peers must learn to speak this language because it will soon be as important or more important than any other language. By developing a partnership with your computer alter ego in which you teach each other and each do what you do best, you will be much more powerful than if you went about your decision making alone. The computer will also be your link to great collective decision making, which is far more powerful than individual decision making and will almost certainly advance the evolution of our species. Pretty significant words there from one of the world's richest people. Definitely high praise for trading algorithms. And it makes sense because that's what his company does. That's what these guys do, right? They've made a lot of money using trading algorithms. And I believe strongly that so can you if you put in the time and effort. Yeah. So let me flip back here and see if there's any more questions. Guys, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to write throughout. I'm bouncing back and forth here. So let me know if you have any questions or comments or thoughts about anything. Cool. So let me continue. So, right. So we've talked about trading algorithms, kind of what they are and what they do, right? And what are some advantages of it and some examples of companies that have done well with this. right? But let's take a step back here, because a lot of people, when they think about trading algorithms, right, they think about really kind of the same sort of thing. Every single person I speak to that's new to this field, they all go down this one path right here: day trading, technical analysis. Everyone zeroes in on that like one specific thing, which, can be profitable. And I'll show you a couple of profitable things in that. You can make good money doing that, especially in crypto. Technical analysis seems to work. In stocks and other things, it's hit and miss, right? But in crypto, it seems to be more profitable than in other ones, right? By technical analysis, I mean looking at like MACD or RSI or moving averages, right? But like, how many ways can you possibly spin that, right? Like, I mean, if you're doing something with RSI and you think you're a genius because you've done this thing that you think no one else has ever done, I hate to break it to you, but there's probably like thousands of other people in the world doing the same thing. And in crypto, that can be profitable because people kind of seem to listen to it. It kind of goes in that direction. But there's a lot of other ways they can make money and really beat the market to a large degree without having to go down that path, right? And doing something more unique, right? So some examples of that. For example, in the day trading world, you could do machine learning, right? What is machine learning? It's basically using artificial intelligence, right? So we teach people in our classes how to actually build AI trading bots, right? There's lots of different ways you could do this. There's Python packages. There's libraries they can use. There's third-party resources they could, like APIs they can connect to. We'll show you how to do that sort of thing and actually use AI to determine some of your trading, right? So some pretty advanced stuff they could do there that is unique out of the box that could give you a really good edge. Because that's what this is all about, right? We're all about trying to get an edge in the market. We're trying to beat everyone else, right? And AI is a really good way to do that, right? But that's day trading, right? And like, everyone seems to be so obsessed with that, but there's much better ways to make money than that, right? Another way to make money, and this is, I've seen some people really do well with this. One of our past students, last time I spoke to him, he said he built a bot that does this sort of thing, event-based stuff, basically listening to influencers or reading the news. But in either case, there's an event that happens that will make things move, right? So in stocks, it's kind of easier to explain where, a company just released a new product, right? And that's like a positive thing. Or maybe there's a negative thing. Maybe the CEO of a company just got into a car accident, right? Either one of those events are going to affect the stock quite dramatically, right? In positive or negative terms. But this also happens in the crypto space as well, right? So one example of this would be Elon Musk tweeting about Dogecoin, right? Whatever you think about Elon Musk, whether you like him or not, the fact that he tweeted about Dogecoin made it move very dramatically, right? Dogecoin moved something like 10,000% over the course of a few weeks. And if you had been one of the first people in that, you would have made a ton of money, right? So I was talking about one of our students earlier. He made an algorithm doing this sort of thing, and reportedly, he was telling me he was making something like 400 or 500% a year doing this event-based type trading. It could be quite profitable, right? You can also make macro-based strategies, right? You can make strategies that basically pay attention to interest rates or inflation. Inflation, for example, I think comes out tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. You could have a bot that's listening to inflation, and you could be the first person to trade that because you know it's going to move the markets, right? If inflation comes in hotter than expected, I can tell you exactly where the stock market's going. Same thing with the crypto markets. If inflation comes in lighter than expected, I can tell you where it's going to go, right? If we have inflation that comes in month over month under 1%, or even if it comes in negative, right, then you better believe that the stock market and the crypto markets are all going to fly through the roof, right? If the opposite happens and inflation came in a bit hotter than what we all were expecting, well, then we're going to see a pretty brutal market tomorrow. In either case, if you have a robot that's listening to that, you can be the first one in on that trade, right? If it comes in hotter than expected, short the market. If it's coming in, if it came in better than expected, go long, and you can make quite a bit of money on that trade, right? So listening to economic data can be quite valuable. Fundamental analysis, right? This mostly applies to stocks, but you could also apply this a lot to crypto, right? Where you can do screeners, right? In stocks, you could do this looking for certain profitability ratios, or you could be looking at growth rates or what have you. There's a lot of different fundamental things you could analyze. But in crypto, you could also do things like, how is this thing trading on the blockchain, right? Is there only one person that owns this whole thing, or is there like many, many different users, right? And you can also look at how is this coin trading on the market? Who is buying it and when and how and why? Is there some giant hedge fund that just bought it, right? You can do a lot of fundamental analysis like that to filter out what coins or what stocks you might be most interested in and invest in those, right? There's a lot of value in that, right? There's also arbitrage, right? We spoke about arbitrage earlier. For example, right now, if you took your Bitcoin and went to Nigeria, you would get a 40% premium for it, right? You're gonna have to figure out how to get it routed over there, but that is a pretty easy way to make money. It's literally the exact same Bitcoin. It's the same Bitcoin here in America as it is in Nigeria, right? But it's trading at a 40% premium, which means you can buy it here, sell it there, buy it here, sell it there, and make 40% each time you do this, right? This is arbitrage. There's multiple types of arbitrage. You can do statistical arbitrage. There's a bunch of different ways to do this, but any way you swing it, it's kind of like free money, right? It's one of the lowest risk type of trades they can make, and it can be quite profitable if done correctly. Not an easy thing to pull off, mind you, but if you can find something that does arbitrage well and you can really capitalize on that, you can make like a really, really large amount of money very quickly without taking a ton of risk, right? So arbitrage is another one, but really pretty much like anything that a human fund manager can do, right? At this point, technology's gotten so advanced that other than, like this crazy super, like Warren Buffett type investing, like pretty much everything else can be done using algorithms, right? Software code is very powerful. For those of you guys that have used ChatGPT, you're starting to see the power of what software can do, and it's only going to get better this year and the year after and the year after that. And I'm willing to bet if you are a human being and you're trying to trade, I can run circles around you when it comes to using software, and I can prove that if you'd like. Just the amount of things you can do with software and the intelligence that's possible with this stuff. It's not fair. It's not a fair advantage. It's not a fair comparison between the two. I don't know if you guys knew this, by the way, but the stock market, for example, is like 95% robots. If you're one of the 5% that's trading it manually by clicking on buttons, you're at a significant disadvantage, right? These robots, they're running circles around people. This is how Jim Simmons is getting rich. This is how Ken Griffin's getting rich. This is how all these people are making so much money doing this stuff. They're not doing it manually. They're not sitting in front of a computer pushing buttons all day long. They've built algorithms to do this for them, and they're making a lot of money doing this, right? So that's what we're all about, and that's what we're trying to advance here, right? Let me check up on if we've got any more things here. Mohammed's saying Australia needs to drop off. That's no problem. We'll have a recording of this afterwards, by the way, that we're going to send out. So if you want to get the rest of this, the recording will be out there. Alan says, does Lumiwealth bot accommodate event-based trading methods? Yeah, absolutely. So if you take one of our courses, like our full course, we'll show you how to write code to do this. I'll show you actually one of our bots today that reads Reddit and will trade based off of Reddit. I'll show you an example of one of those, right? Okay, cool. Thanks for that question. All right, so we have Lumiwealth library. That's our technology that we use. We've developed this library over 3 years, more like 4 years at this point. Our library that we've created can trade and back test at the same time. It's very easy to switch between the two. We can trade stocks, options, futures, forex, and crypto, and on many different exchanges. We connect to Coinbase, Binance, KuCoin, Alpaca, Interactive Brokers, and a bunch of others. We're adding more as we speak. We could trade 24 hours using this. We could trade in intervals as low as 1 second. We can obtain historical data. We can trade a wide range of coins on different markets. And importantly, we make it as very easy for you guys to use this. You will need to know how to code a little bit, but we make it very simple once you know a little bit of coding on how to build all these different kinds of things, right? Okay, cool. So let me show you a few demos, right? So I'm going to show you 4 demos today. These are strategies you're going to see. These are definitely not all of our strategies. I just have a limited amount of time, so I can't show you everything. But I'll show you some of the ones that I think are pretty interesting, right? So first one, I'm going to show you the custom ETF. I'm going to show you our mean reversion bot. I'm going to show you our trend following bot, and then I'm going to show you a social media trading bot. All right. So starting with the first one, here's our custom ETF strategy. As you can tell here, this is a back test, but let me zoom in on this a little bit. Here's our custom ETF bot, right? This is how it performed. This is what we call back test. It's simulating these trades in the past, right? And how they would have performed in the past, right? So here, for example, this is 2021. I ran this a little while ago. We can run this in the future as well. It has similar results in the future. But here's how we would have done versus the benchmark, right? So the benchmark here is Bitcoin, right? Is how Bitcoin traded, and the blue line is how we traded, right? So you can see here that we would have made 67% over this year of 2021. I should update this. I should get a new one. We did this because it was 2022 and we ran in 2022. But anyways, in 2021, we would have made 67% return, and that's versus Bitcoin, which only would have made 25%. So more than double the returns, right? If we had traded at this point in time, which amounts to something like 71% over the course of the year versus 27% for Bitcoin. So doing pretty well, right? So outperformed Bitcoin by quite a large amount. The Sharpe ratio was higher as well. Our max drawdown was better, which means we're taking on less risk, right? Max drawdown being the top to the bottom, how much it fell, right? Our biggest loss was 48%, whereas Bitcoin was more than that, 53%. Our volatility was about the same as Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin volatility is 65% a year, right? Ours is 69%, which is pretty close. But given the fact that we had more than double returns, it's well worth it, right? So this is basically the back test. And if you go through our full course, we'll show you exactly how to build things like this. It's quite simple. It's very easy. Once you hit run, it will actually, once you've built your strategy, hit run, and we can actually show you how it would have done. Right? Here's monthly returns, how it did in each month. August was a very good month, for example. So was October, right? And then the worst months were September and June and December, right? But yeah, basically breaks down everything, shows you exactly how the strategy would have done. And the way that we do this, whenever we build algorithms, is we'll first build an algorithm, then we'll back test it, we'll see how it would have done in the past, and then we can run it in the future. And we could see, okay, if it did well in the past, right? It did well in 2021, did well in 2022, it did well so far this year. Okay, well, that doesn't guarantee that it's going to do well in the future, but it sure is how it makes me a lot more confident in it, right? Because the chances are that we're probably going to see a repeat of that, right? So this is over that year. If I want to run in real life right now, let me show you this. Here's my broker, right? Here you can see this broker has, this is Alpaca, right? We work with a bunch of different brokers, right? Here's one of them. I like using Alpaca because they're very easy to demo. This is a fake money account, but you know, if this is real money, it's literally the exact same thing. It's just flipped over. It works exactly the same way, just put in different keys and endpoints. But here's a good way for me to demo this for you, right? $99,000 in this account, right? So if I want to trade this, all I need to do is go over my code here. Here's my code that runs my custom ETF strategy. We can talk about how to build this sort of thing, right? If you take our full course, we'll show you exactly how to build this type of bot. And we actually use a lot of AI tools. And for those of you that don't know how to code, this might look intimidating, but we'll show you how to do this. Believe me, I've taught a lot of people that do not know how to code, and they've built some pretty amazing bots, especially with AI, the way it's advanced these days. it's actually gotten quite easy to build these types of things. And we'll show you how to use those tools and how to build this. You'll also get access to this code itself. So if you want to use this right out of the box, you can do that. But here, basically, you see I don't own anything here in my portfolio. There's no assets, right? Nothing owned. And if I go into here and I hit run on my code, you'll see that's going to automatically buy this for me. And what this strategy does specifically, it's a pretty simple strategy, but effective. It buys a third Bitcoin, a third Ethereum, and a third Litecoin. So I'll take my whole $99,000, divide it up amongst those three assets, and will make me own those three assets. And then what it does is over time, when they change, oh, sorry, I ran the back test. It's not what I meant to run. Let me flip this over here. I'm going to run this live, set live to true, right? So all we really need to do is set this to run live. I'm going to run that again, and instead of this back test, right? So here we see this same thing. Strategy did pretty well, but when I run it live, you'll see that it's going to automatically buy these three assets. So I'm not touching anything, hands up, right? And we'll see if this page refreshes itself automatically. But you'll see that this bot will actually buy, there we go, hands are in the air. This bot automatically bought all three of these coins for me, right? It bought Litecoin, Ethereum, and Bitcoin in equal proportions, right? Because that's what this bot does. A third, a third, a third each. And basically, we call this custom ETF because you can kind of create your own ETF in the crypto world, right? There's a reason why ETFs are very popular. It's because you can diversify your risk and a lot of other things. But here you can create your own custom ETF, a third Litecoin, a third Ethereum, a third Bitcoin. Very simple. I run this algorithm. It's going to keep doing this for me. And what's an advantage of this too is this algorithm in particular is it's going to go day by day. And if one of these are no longer worth a third, it's going to make that adjustment for me, right? So for if one of them fell, it's going to buy more. If one of them went up, it's going to sell it. So it's basically selling high, buying low the whole way through, right? So pretty good strategy. That's very simple to execute, right? So there we go. You can see that thing running there. That's one of our strategies executing for you. Okay? So let me stop this strategy. I'm going to check up on you guys and see if you have any questions. Oh, there you go. So another question here is from Anurag. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Did your algorithm try to use ChatGPT? We show you how to use ChatGPT in our full course, right? So if you're looking to use ChatGPT, we absolutely spend a lot of time with it in our course because that is a great way to help you build algorithms much faster. Whereas if you're trying to build an algorithm like this, even just 2 years ago, would have been a challenge, right? People definitely found it difficult 2 years ago. But with these new AI tools that are available today, like ChatGPT being one of them, you could build an algorithm like this really, really quickly. And you could try a bunch of different things and modify it to do this sort of thing, right? So yes, absolutely. We teach you how to use ChatGPT to build these types of algorithms. I think it is a very, very useful tool for algorithm building. All right. Thank you for that question. It's a great question. Okay, cool. So we have our custom ETF strategy, right? Let me show you another one here. So here's another one. Here's a mean reversion strategy. So this one's pretty simple. All right, basically it will buy when RSI is below 25 and when the closing price is below the lower Bollinger Band, and it will sell when RSI is above 75 and the closing price is above the upper Bollinger Band. So for those of you that don't know what RSI or Bollinger Bands are, RSI stands for Relative Strength Index, and will basically tell you when the algorithm thinks that something's oversold or overbought. right? So an RSI over 75 typically means that something is overbought, overheating, right? So it means that it's a good time to sell this thing potentially, right? When RSI is below 25, that typically will mean that this thing is probably oversold and maybe it's a good time for it to come back, right? So basically here we're saying, okay, it's oversold, so we're going to buy it, right? Or it's overbought, so we're going to sell it, right? It's overheating, right? We're trying to stay in the middle, right? And we basically confirm that with our Bollinger Bands, right? Our Bollinger Bands are kind of like this. This is what they look like. I'll show you Bollinger Bands. Bollinger Bands. They look something like this, right? There's upper and lower band, right? And basically, when we break out of these bands, this is a standard deviation, actually two standard deviations around your closing price. And what that means is if you're way above that, that means that this is unusual. This stock doesn't tend to trade, or this crypto doesn't tend to trade in a range like that, right? So it's probably a time to sell it because it's getting a little overheated, right? And vice versa, when things are too far down, right, it broke through the bottom Bollinger Band, then it looks like this thing is probably oversold and maybe it's time for it to pop back up again, right? So we have two different things that confirm it, the RSI and the Bollinger Band. And you can see here, this is the result of the back test, right? Here's a few different, this is going back from 2020 all the way, actually this is the whole year of 2020, did pretty damn well. The blue line is our strategy, pretty steady way up, which is pretty crazy. Mind you, this is without high trading fees, right? So it depends on what broker you're using, right? But pretty stable returns here and going up quite a bit versus the benchmark, which in this case is Bitcoin, beating Bitcoin by a really nice margin and also with a much lower risk profile, right? So this is over the course of 2020. I also have another back test here. This is from 2022, the first few months of 2022 when I was running it for those first few months. Again, blue line is our strategy, yellow line is benchmark. Over the course of this time period, Bitcoin was down 16% or almost 17% down, and we were up 9%, right? So pretty damn good strategy, especially if you can keep your trading costs low. This is a very important thing with the mean reversion strategy is to keep your trading costs low. But this one's pretty cool, right? I'm not going to run this one for you because it's going to take way too long to see it actually in action because it like literally throughout the day, it like waits, like we might not see a trade for like an hour or two. But this is basically what it would backtest like, and this is what it would have done over that time period, right? Okay, so that's our mean reversion strategy. Pretty impressive, does pretty well. Actually quite well, right? Double or triple the return of Bitcoin. So that's mean reversion, right? Then another one to show you called trend following strategy. This one is one that I actually really like personally. It's one of the strategies I showed you on our website. This is it, trend following. Right here it is for Ethereum, and I had another one for Bitcoin, right? We actually have right now some people invested in this, right? So I can tell you that we had, I want to say 4 or 5 different people invest in this. We just launched this website for beta. It's closed off. It's not open to the public yet, again, because we don't have the licenses yet. But the people that we did put this into, friends and family, close people, we haven't opened this up to the public. But the people that did put money in, I think they made like 30% or 40% on their money in the past month, right? Pretty damn good. And that's the past month. But if you back test it, this is not a new thing. Like this strategy would have done 200% over the past 2 years. Like it's like a really profitable strategy. Here we have trend following for Bitcoin, for example. Here's a back test with Bitcoin. If you had done this since 2018 up until, I want to say this is November 17th, 2022, you would have made 988% returns on your strategy. That's versus Bitcoin, which is up 20%. Still, I mean, not too bad. It's in a bear market right now, so it kind of affects its returns. But I mean, we were at some point up 2,000%. You know, this strategy would have made you a lot of money if you had put it into Bitcoin and ran it on that. And really, what it does, it's simple but really effective. It looks at the exponential moving average over the past 17 days. And if you're above that exponential moving average, then we buy Bitcoin in this case. If we're below that exponential moving average, then we sit back and we sit in cash, right? To protect you from downturns. So it's a way of reducing risk and also improving your returns, right? You can see here again, cumulative return about 1,000% over this time period. That's what, 4 years, 1,000%. Not bad, right? Not a bad return. It comes out to 63% a year, which Bitcoin only did 4% a year over that same time period. The max drawdown, 60%, which is from the top here to the bottom here, most likely. Bitcoin did worse than that. The worst Bitcoin drop was 76%. So basically, less volatility, right? It's 42% versus 61%. So basically, lower risk, higher returns. Who doesn't want that, right? So here's the trend following strategy for Bitcoin. Here's the trend following strategy for Ethereum, by the way. Here's the same thing for Ethereum instead, right? So Ethereum, we would have made 220% over this same time period, whereas Ethereum itself would have dropped 2%, right? So more than triple your money, right? Because 200% is triple your money. So it's more than triple your money over a 4-year time period. Like that's pretty damn good. Please name a strategy that can do better than that. That's not someone trying to scam you for your money. This is like actually for real what would have happened if you had done this sort of thing, right? So needless to say, very interesting strategy. I personally have a lot of my own money into this stuff, and I have a lot of our clients, friends, family money into this as well, right? And this is an example too. You can see that a lot of our strategies you can actually modify, right? So for example, there's the same strategy I did for Bitcoin, I did for Ethereum, right? We could try this with other coins too, right? You could try this with Dogecoin, with Litecoin, with name your favorite, right? Like you can do this with all these other coins as well and see how they would turn out. And you can even diversify your money into each one of these. It could be a very smart way to make a pretty nice return, so you can have different symbols. You can pick different time periods as well. This is the 17-day. I didn't have time to do this before the class today to show you the different days, but there's a reason why we use 17-day, and that's because we've tested all the other ones, right? What if it was 5 days? What if it was 10 days? What if it was 15 days? And what we've come to is 17 days seems to be the sweet spot, right? That's what works the best. And this is not, me saying, oh, look at these graphs and all this. Like, no, this is like actually us back testing this hard data on this is the best optimal time period to use in trading this strategy. I mean, data is powerful, code is powerful. You can really get a lot of really good results out of this, right? So that's our trend following strategy. It's one that I personally really like, and I have a good amount of money in, right? Let me check to see if you guys wrote anything. Okay, there's another question here from Alan. Are you looking to adopt any new friends and family for your beta? That's a good question, Alan. We've been slowly bringing in new people. If you're interested in this, let me know. We could have a discussion around it. We're very picky about the people that we bring in because, again, we don't have the licenses for this stuff yet. So we really need to be cautious about what we do. And, I don't want to get sued. Let's put it that way, right? Because it's the U.S. We're not talking about crypto stuff. I mean, this is crypto stuff, right? But these are U.S. accounts, and there's a lot of like very specific legal things that need to happen around this. But if you're interested in this, let me know. We can have a discussion around this. Maybe you qualify for being on this. If you're an accredited investor that helps, for example, and we can have that discussion, and maybe we can see you on this platform as well, all right? But yeah, we are being very picky about the people that we bring on the platform right now. So that's our trend following strategy. I personally have a lot of money in into this stuff. And that's just because I don't want to get sued, and I don't want the SEC coming after me. I like not being in jail, let's put it that way. So, so we're being very picky about the people that we bring on board. But yeah, if you're interested, let me know. We can have the discussion. We'll see if you meet the criteria for this. If you do, then we could bring you on the platform. All right. Accredited investors, for example, we could bring on board. So, I mean, if you sign a document saying basically that you're an accredited investor, which means you have a net worth of over 2 million, I think 1 million or 2 million, or you make an income personally of over $250,000, or with your spouse over, I think, 300K in total. That constitutes you as a accredited investor, and that makes it easier for me to actually give this thing to you without having to worry about the SEC coming after me, right? But either case, feel free to message me. Maybe we can figure something out. All right. Good question. Thank you. So I showed you 3 different bots. Let me show you one last bot for today. This is our social media trading bot. So our social media trading bot, basically, this is an example of a bot that can like read news or read social media profiles, right? So in our case, we're going to be doing Reddit, right? But you could just as easily do this with other things, right? You could do this on Twitter. I have a couple of them here: Twitter, Telegram, Discord, Reddit. You could do this with news sources. You could do this with like Bloomberg, or you could do this with I don't know, coinmarketcap.com, whatever, right? Like pick any news source or anything that has text in it, and we can read that, right? And some examples of what we can do with it are like, following influencers, right? So following Elon Musk, for example, if he tweets about Dogecoin, we can invest in that, right? Or we could follow messaging channels, right? Discord has a lot of these people that they give like trading advice or trade alerts, right? Some of them suck, but some of them are actually pretty good, right? So we could actually build bots that go to these channels and listen to these trade alerts and actually follow what they're doing, and hopefully make some money doing that, right? If these people are legit, if they actually have good trading signals, then we could actually follow them and make some really good money doing that, right? We can also follow social trends. This is what I'm going to show you. You could go on, like, for example, Wall Street Bets or something like that, and see who's talking more about what stock or about what crypto, and we can automatically figure that out, right? And trade based off of that. Actually, let me, speaking of which, actually, no, we'll wait for a second to do that. So that's what we're going to do. I have a bot ready to show you how that works, right? Or you could like trade off the news, right? So if some news came out that Ethereum is doing really well on something, right? Or if I don't know, Sam Bankman-Fried, if he went to jail or something, right? Like there's all these different things that can impact the crypto markets or the stock market, and following the news can really make some good money for you doing that, right? So we could definitely build bots doing that, right? So that being said, let me give you an example of this. So again, here, if we go back to our broker, I'm going to sell these things off. All right, so let me sell these. Right, and we bring it back to we don't own anything, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a bot that's going to go into Wall Street Bets. Actually, sorry, no. It's going to go to Reddit. It's going to go to cryptocurrency subreddit, right? So we go cryptocurrency. There we go. There's 6 million members in here. For those of you that don't know what Reddit is, it's just like a forum where people talk to each other about things and ask questions and whatever. So here, for example, there's one person I posted here. Our 43% rally this month may have been one of the biggest short liquidation events in crypto, as 85% traders were short and only 15% long during that time. It's definitely a good time to invest in crypto, or at least I believe so. This month, crypto really did what it does best, shocking literally everyone with its moves that no one could have expected. And this time we could actually say it was everyone. For that. Anyway, so here's someone writing this article, right? What our bot is going to do is it's going to go into each one of these articles. So it's going to look at all the hot topics here, right? It's going to take the top 10 hot articles, right? Okay, so here's 1, 2 is another one here. This is an ad. 3 here. It's going to read through all these top articles and then read the comments that are in there, right? And the comments are going to say all sorts of stuff, right? They're going to talk about Bitcoin. Let me just short Bitcoin, da, da, da. Or it could talk about, where's another one here? Let's see what else. BTC while on a bull run, right? So there's a bunch of people that like mention different coins in here, right? Rule 5 of crypto: never leverage. That's a pretty good rule. I gotta say, it's volatile enough. Anyways, there's a bunch of people writing about different coins in here, right? They'll talk about, oh, Bitcoin I really like, or Litecoin I don't like, or whatever, right? People discuss different things about different coins in these comments. So what our bot is going to do is going to read through all these comments and basically come up with a tally of which one gets mentioned the most often. And more recently, this changes over time, right? Like some coins become more popular, some become less, and it's going to get a sentiment score on them. And based on, so here's our broker again. We don't own anything right now, right? And we're going to let this thing go. And we'll give it a few seconds. It will actually buy some stuff for us, right? So it's going through all those comments. It's reading all of Reddit, and it's determining what are coins that a lot of people are talking about. What are some of the more popular ones right now in terms of the comments? And then B, it's reading the sentiment scores on those coins, and it's buying the coins with the highest sentiment, right? So this bounces around, right? So sometimes Ethereum is really in favor. Sometimes Bitcoin is really in favor. Dogecoin was huge for like the longest time, right? And when it was hot, when everyone was talking about Dogecoin, and when the sentiment was really good, that was actually a really good time to be in Dogecoin because it was like a rocket ship going straight up, right? And we can see this stuff here live, in real time, right? And build our portfolio based off of that, right? So let me check up on this bot. It's downloading all this stuff here. So it's getting sentiment scores from cryptocurrency. We're doing the top 20 posts, right? And it's downloading all that stuff, and it's going to essentially build this portfolio out of our $100,000 or 98 grand that we have. It's going to divide that money up among the coins that it thinks are going to do the best based off of popularity and based off of sentiment. All right. Let's give it a few more seconds here. It takes a little bit of time because it's a lot to download. It's a lot of information to download from Reddit, and it has to like go through it. This is kind of like a minor version of AI, right? The sentiment analysis is like a pretty simplistic version of AI, just to understand kind of what is the meaning behind things, right? So it's still going. In the meantime, let me check up on your chats and see if you guys wrote anything. So Alan, do you have a repo of strategies? I saw your Discord link. Is that where folks share strategies and their results? So we do not have a repo that we publicly share. If you join our courses, then we do have a repo where you can actually access all of our strategies. There's a bunch of them. We have a whole library of them that you can go through and use, right? But it is not made public, right? This is something that we give to our paying customers, right? So thank you for that question, Alan. But I mean, if you go on Discord, you could probably talk to some other people there, and you might be able to get free code. People are, I think, and probably for good reason, reluctant to give out free code, because if you have a strategy that works, you're probably better off charging money for it, to be quite honest with you, because strategies that make money, they're worth money, right? So why would you give it away for free? But yeah, so that's kind of my comments on that. Marvis asked a question as well. For crypto arbitrage, have you experienced any limitations for your bot due to lack of API support for the strategy, i.e. fees, latency, crypto exchange issues? Yeah, so crypto arbitrage can be challenging. It is not like it's, I say it's free money, right? But it is, free comes with, I'm not gonna say it comes with a price, but it's not easy to find, right? So if you want to do crypto arbitrage, I think today your best bet is to do statistical arbitrage, right? Which is basically looking at the correlation between two different assets and how they trade versus each other on an exchange. That's a really good way of doing it. Especially if you're looking at cross exchange, you can do a lot of stuff there. Or if you want to do pure arbitrage, I'd recommend that you do this with either, actually probably even both, smaller coins. They're less liquid because then they're going to have bigger price discrepancies across exchanges. And I would also do it on decentralized exchanges, because decentralized exchanges, they tend to have bigger mispricings there. So something like a Uniswap or a Sushi Swap, those tend to have bigger mispricings than Binance or KuCoin, for example. So if I were to go down that path, that's what I would do. I would do smaller coins on Uniswap or Sushi Swap or another decentralized exchange like that. I think that's where you're going to find most of the opportunities. Right? It's a good question, Marvis. It's arbitrage is challenging. It's not the easiest. It's one of the harder algorithms to build, admittedly. But if you can find arbitrage, you can make a ridiculous amount of money very quickly. To tell you a story, when we first started Voyager back in the day, we just got this new app out, and we actually were able to do arbitrage. That was the whole idea behind it in the first place, to connect all these different brokers. And when we first got to work, I literally was sitting at my desk hitting buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell. And I made like a couple $100 just doing that all day long until my CEO yelled at me and told me to stop doing this. Because, get back to work, Rob. But like I made like a couple $100 just literally sitting there hitting buy and sell for like an hour. I should have put more money in. That was like, I started with like $100 and ended up with like $600 in like an hour, with like no risk. It was amazing. Like 6x'd my money in like an hour. But I mean, I wish I should have put in more money. I should put in like 10K and like actually made like a meaningful amount of cash, to be honest with you. But yeah, arbitrage can be very profitable. It can be challenging, right? If you're going to do it, decentralized exchanges, smaller coins. I think that's your best bet. Right. Okay, so going back here. So here is what the bot decided on. This is a little different than earlier today. Okay, so the bot went through, read Wall Street bets, went through all of it. Here's kind of how it came up with this, by the way. If you want to read through this, it's kind of hard to read. It's not formatted very well, but here's Ethereum. The average score for Ethereum came out to be 0.17. Anything above 0 is a positive sentiment. So it's mildly positive for Ethereum. It's based off of all these scores that it got from different comments. Here's for Bitcoin. The average score was 0.108. And then is based on all these things, all these articles, a lot of articles about Bitcoin, right? Then we had Solana, which had an average score of 0 based on one article. That's not enough for us we don't invest in anything that doesn't have a positive score. This is 0, so it's right on the edge. And then Dogecoin, we had one article, which was pretty positive here, 0.49. But it wasn't enough articles. We don't trade. One article is not enough, or one comment is not enough for us to trade, so we didn't do that. So because of that, we had Ethereum had a score of 0.17. Bitcoin had a score of 0.10. So we're putting 61% of our money into Ethereum and 38% of our money into Bitcoin. And this is what we ended up with. We have $53,000 in Ethereum and $33,000 in Bitcoin, right? And this algorithm is going to be constantly checking in, right? So it's going to constantly be looking at these new coins. What does it think? Is now Dogecoin trending? If Dogecoin starts to trend, then we're going to buy more Dogecoin, right? If other asset classes are trending, then it's going to invest in that as well, right? Mind you, this is also, we're only looking at the top 20 articles, right? And we're not digging that deep into it because this would take a lot longer to run. I want to make this so I could like demo this for you guys in this class here. But if I were to do this for real, I'd make it look at the top 200 articles and I'd make it look a lot deeper into it. Maybe do like the top, 1,000 comments each, which it would probably take like an hour to come up with that decision. But once it does, it's going to be much more accurate, based off of what people actually think about each one of these coins. And chances are this thing's going to trade pretty well based off of that, right? Because of this is what people actually think about these things, this is what people are planning to buy, right? And I think there's actually a pretty good mix right now, to be quite honest with you. I'm pretty bullish on Ethereum going forward. Bitcoin is, always been there. But the other coins I don't think are necessarily a good thing to invest in right now, not in this kind of bear market personally. So I actually agree with its trading strategy here right now. That's pretty cool. It did that for us automatically, right? And it'll keep doing that for us every day. Just keep going, look at this and rebalance our money based off of what is everyone saying on Reddit these days, right? If there's some new hot coin that comes out, we can invest in that and jump on that bandwagon, and ride that wave up. All right, cool. All right, I'm just checking to see if there's any more comments here. All right, cool. So that's the 4 strategies I want to show you guys, right? So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Definitely some pretty good stuff here. I hope you can see what makes me so excited about this stuff. I have my own money in these things as well. It's been quite profitable so far, so I'm happy with it. That's the example of a couple of our strategies, right? There's more things you could do. Like there's all sorts of stuff you could do. You could do like a lot of custom feeds and different signals. Like here's one example of like Lunar Crush they can go to. If you ever check out this website, that shows you like at mass scale how each crypto coin is doing based on social sentiment. So you could invest based off of that, or you could do things like looking at Token Sniffer, or you can like connect to a bunch of different things online. There's so many different ways that you can make money doing this stuff, connecting to different feeds and doing different things, right? Crypto definitely has a lot of potential and a lot of ways they can make money. It's still a brand new market, right? It's not as advanced as the stock market, so there's a lot of inefficiencies they can take advantage of to make money. Cool. So that's it for that demo. So let me tell you about, if you want to continue learning and you want to take our full course. Here's our full course. I'm going to share with you the link here. This is our crypto trading class. It is an 8-week-long class. If you want to keep going in this and you want to get access to our strategies, we'll give you all the code that we have here. We'll teach you basically how to build the stuff from scratch. We'll do a lot of algorithms kind of on the fly. There's a lot of really cool stuff that we do in this class. 8 weeks long, like I said. If you want to go through this class here, you can read about the course description and, why do you want to trade algorithms with crypto. Read about the learning outcomes, but let me talk to you about the curriculum. It is a 3-part class, right? So part 1 in this class, if you decide to take our full class on crypto trading algorithms, week 1 is going to be a course introduction. We're going to introduce you to everyone else in the class. It's a very social class, so you got to get to know everyone else there. We're going to set up your system, make sure you have everything set up for you, and make sure that you have all the tools and things that you need starting day 1, right? Week 2 is going to be a Python introduction. So for those of you that don't know how to code, we'll spend one of the weeks basically going through all of Python A to Z. It's not going to be a very intense view of Python, but it's going to be enough for you to know what to do, right? It's going to be a very quick overview of Python so that you guys can actually understand what types of coding you will need to do this sort of thing, right? Week 3, it says here intermediate Python, but we actually get further into that. On week 3, we go through functions classes in Python, and then we also actually set up Lumiwealth on your computer. And hopefully by week 3, we'll have everyone actually placing their first trades in week 3, right? So we'll actually have a bot up and running and trading in week 3, right? So that's part 1, right? Part 2 is 2 weeks, right? So week 4, We're saying we're setting up your first crypto bot. We're going to connect to your brokerage accounts. You're going to play some trades. Realistically, in more recent versions of the class, like I said, we did that in week 3. And by week 4, we're going to connect to more brokers. We're going to show you how to connect to Binance, how to connect to KuCoin, how to place a few trades. And we're actually going to show you a few different algorithms already in week 4, right? Week 5, we're going to show you how to back test the strategy. Where do you get the data? How do you load the data into the library to make sure that you can actually, have data to trade with? And then we're going to back test a few different algorithms, and you'll see a few different strategies. If you go into here, I can even show you, week 5, we'll go over our trend following algorithm. We'll go over our momentum algorithm, and we'll talk about loading data. Here's, this is basically what each of the days is, right? Week 6, so part 3, week 6, we're going to go over a few different bot strategies. We're going to talk about how to make a technical analysis bot, and then we're going to talk about how to make a custom ETF bot. Time permitting, we can also build a bot on the fly. What I found works really well with students. People seem to really like this, where I'll ask you guys what kind of bots you want to build, and I will build this on the fly so you could watch me build this thing from scratch. And you could actually see what is involved in building this bot, right? A lot of people find that they learn very quickly doing this because we could pair program and build together doing that sort of thing. So week 6, a few different strategies, and you can build one from scratch as well. Week 7, we're going to go over a few advanced strategies. So for example, we're going to talk about how to use API data within our bots and a few different APIs. And we're going to talk about our social trading bots. So we're going to trade over Discord. We'll show you that Reddit bot that we did as well. And that'll be week 7. You'll get access to those strategies. And then week 8, we're going to do advanced strategies level 2, which is going to be machine learning for crypto, which is going to teach you how to use artificial intelligence to interpret basically time series data and trade off of time series data using machine learning and AI, right? So it'll be week 8. We basically get into machine learning. We actually have an entire class that really digs even deeper into machine learning. But in week 8, we'll give you a nice overview, and you'll learn how to get started with machine learning and AI for crypto trading. Right. So that's part 1, 2, and 3. And in total, it's an 8-week long course. Right. So this course, we have 3 different plans that you can get started with. So we have these all build on each other. We have our self-directed, then we have our live class plan, and then we have our project help and tutoring plan. Each one of these builds on the next one, right? So starting with our beginner tier is our self-directed plan. When you sign up to this plan, you're going to get recordings of all the classes that we've done in the past. So you can watch all of our course recordings. And you're going to get access to our community, which we have Discord. We also have a private Discord for those people that are only in the class. That also includes a voice-based Discord chat that we have once a week that we call discussion hour. You'll get to know a lot of other people in the class, and this is a way for people actually share a lot of algorithms through the voice. For some reason, people, I guess, there's better trust when you talk to people over voice. But people tend to share a lot more over that. So you get access to the video recordings, you get access to our community, and you also get access to all this code, right? So all the algorithms I showed you today, plus more, you'll get access to all of them. You'll be able to use that code and do whatever you want to do with it. You can run them if you want to run them right out of the box, or you can modify them and do whatever it is that you think is necessary to make you as much money as possible, right? But yeah, so it's our self-directed plan, videos, community, and code. And you also get, by the way, a bunch of hours helping with whatever you need help with as well. So if you get stuck anywhere, you are not doing this on your own. If there's other classes on the internet, you do this sort of thing, you get stuck somewhere, too bad, right? We're not like that. We give you a lot of support. So if you get stuck anywhere, you need help installing anything, or if a bot's not working for you, or if code isn't doing whatever, you get a lot of support with that. I'm very active on Discord, so you have some questions there, feel free to ask. we could jump on one-on-one calls as well to a limited degree as well in the self-directed class. Right. Okay, so that's self-directed. Our live classes is everything that I just discussed there plus more, right? So you get, the videos, you get the code, you get the community, you get some support. But on top of that, you also get to join our live classes. And the next live class, I think, starts, I want to say sometime in February or maybe even March, actually. We'll talk about that in a second. But you'll join our live classes, and the live classes are great because unlike just watching videos, you can ask questions. So it's kind of like it's very much like being in a class in person, right? Except we're doing it over Zoom, right? So it would be kind of like this. I'm teaching, right now, but the difference is that when you guys ask a question, it's like texting, right? When we do our live classes, you'd be able to turn on your microphone. You can turn on your camera if you want. We can share screens. If you get stuck somewhere, we can share screens. I can help you out during this live class. If you're not understanding something that we're going through, you can ask the question. We can have that clarified right on the spot, right? So live class really has a lot of advantages. It's very interactive, right? You're also going to get a chance to present a lot of the things that you're working on. So you get feedback on your algorithms during live class, not just from me, but from other people in the class too. And then if you ever get stuck anywhere, you get a lot of extra support. So the live classes come with much more support than the self-directed plan, right? So if you're serious about this stuff, the live classes is usually the way to go. And it's I think our most popular plan right now is our live classes plan, right? If not live classes, then maybe project help tutoring. This plan has become pretty popular lately as well. I'll tell you why. But yeah, so self-directed, you kind of, it is what it says is you self-directed, you kind of go through this on your own. Live classes, you get to join the live class. It's very interactive. You get all that stuff from self-directed plus more. And then our premium plan, and this is the one that has become quite popular lately. I think we're getting more sales of this than anything else lately, actually. Is our project help and tutoring plan. Okay, and that basically gets everything from self-directed and everything from live. So you get the videos, you get the code, you get to be part of the live class, you get a lot of support, right? If you have questions for the live class, you get help with that, right? But on top of that, we also give you 10 hours of software development time, right? So if you actually want to build anything, right, you have a bot in mind, right, or you want help modifying some bot or whatever, we actually have a team of software engineers that can help you out with that, right? And we'll sit down there, we'll spend 10 hours, up to 10 hours building whatever it is that you want to do. So let's say you have an algorithm that you're very interested in building, we can actually help build that for you, right? So not only are you going to get the videos and all of our code for all of our different strategies, you're going to be part of the live class, but on top of that, you're also going to get software engineers helping you directly with this stuff, right? And in the past, we've built some pretty cool stuff. We've had some very happy clients that have gone through our project help and tutoring plan and have built some pretty interesting bots, right? So those are our 3 plans. Here's the pricing for those 3 plans. Our self-directed class is about $1,995. There's 3 and 5 month payment plans available for each one of these, right? So if you don't want to pay all that up front, you can pay that over 3 months or 5 months. And again, lifetime access to video library, lifetime access to code. You get access to our community, our private community. You get instructor support. So if you have any questions, I'm very active on there if you need any support. Not to mention our students actually help as well. And then you get access to our weekly discussion hour, which is that live, community-based chat that we have every week, which is quite valuable. A lot of people get some great insights from there. So that's a self-directed class, right? 3 and 5 month payment plans. The live classes, they're $44.95, and they basically have everything from self-directed plus 8 weeks of live classes. It's about 2 hours per week, 6 hours of dedicated live Q&A. So if you want to get on a one-on-one chat, we can do that. Share screens. You're stuck somewhere, we can help you with that. You get access to all future videos and code. So if you ever want to retake the class, you can retake the class as many times as you want. Some people, for example, life happens, right? A lot of people take our classes, they get promotions and things like that. So, maybe you started going through a class and something happened. Now you want to retake it, or maybe you just want to learn about the new technology. Some of our past students have retaken ones that from 3 years ago, they took our class and they took it again. You can take it as many times as you want for our live classes. You get help with 2 personal projects. You get to know your other classmates. If you need help with resume or interview prep, we can help you with that too. And you get unlimited email and chat Q&A until we make sure that you get this stuff done and you have some great algorithms working for you. Right? Again, 3 and 5 month payment plans available. Right? And then if you want to take our project help and tutoring plan, this is the one. Like I said, we have software engineers that can actually help you out with this stuff. So, if you have something in mind, we can build it for you. Or if you're building an algorithm and you want to have help in actually making this thing come to fruition, we will have a team of engineers actually helping you as well. So again, you get everything from the self-directed and live classes. You get access to upcoming live classes and as well as, any future live classes you want to take. You get help building a custom project, right? We give you software engineers help with that. And you also get 10 hours of one-on-one live phone sessions or software development time in building these things, right? Okay, so those are 3 different plans. Again, 3 and 5 month plans available as well if you don't want to pay all that up front, all right? Okay, we also have a guarantee, by the way, and I feel very confident giving out this guarantee because I've never had anyone who has gone through the course that wasn't able to do this. But if you go through this class, you actually show up to class, and if you can't build a bot, not only will I give you your money back, but I'll give you an extra $400 for your time, right? Again, I feel comfortable giving out this guarantee because I have never, ever seen anyone do this before. Assuming you actually show up to class, right, and you put in a little bit of work, I guarantee you that you will have a bot running on your computer, probably several of them, and hopefully making you a lot of money, right? I can't guarantee that you're making money, but I can guarantee 100% sure that you will have a bot on your computer, and I'm willing to bet that you'll make some good money doing this. Although, of course, we never know what that's going to happen. If aliens invade next month, I can't guarantee that you'll make money, but I'm willing to bet that you will. Right. So this is our next class. This is our live class coming up. The next one starts on March 26th. Right, which is a Sunday, right? This is going to be every Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern or 1 p.m. Pacific. Each class tends to be about 2 hours long, sometimes 3 hours. It's an 8-week long class, excluding holidays. So I think that Easter is around that time. So we'll probably, miss a class or 2 for Easter, or if there's any other holiday around that time. But 8 weeks long is a class. And then because this class doesn't start until March, we do have an early bird coupon code available right now. If you want to save 20% of the class, which if you think about it, $4,500, 20%, you'll save $900 if you sign up before February 19th. So if you want to save that money, use this coupon code here. Basically, you copy it, you go into select course, right? Here's what it looks like in the checkout process. Here it is. Yeah. There's a new product that we're coming out with, our strategy toolkit. Basically, you put in your coupon code, hit apply coupon, and then continue to check out, and you'll save yourself that money there. All right. Cool. So yeah, so next class, March 26th. Registration closes on March 19th. And if you want to save some money before February 19th, you can save 20% using this coupon code. All right. Okay, and then if you want to watch some testimonials, I showed you on our YouTube page. You can find them there too. There's also some testimonials at the bottom of this page. So here's a game. This guy, I think he's making a couple grand a month right now. Literally, actually doing like trading signals for people using algorithms. You can make money doing this yourself, right? And trading on your own cash. You can make even more money doing this for other people as well. So Agreement is a good example of that. Not only is he making money himself on his own cash, but he's also built a business around this too. So he's a pretty cool person to listen to. Renee, he was one of in our class as well. For those of you guys that have that programming experience, you could see what he did. Santayan, this is that guy that's telling you he was making, like, last time I heard, like 400 or 500% a year. Pretty damn good returns. So you can listen to him and what he's done. You can also listen to Joel, right? This guy's built some pretty cool stuff too. He built a cool stock screener and all that. Last I heard, he's been doing pretty well with his algorithms too. But yeah, so you can listen to any one of these people, or go to our YouTube, go to our YouTube channel. There's plenty of more reviews on there as well. So don't just take my word for it. Listen to these guys, right? They're the ones that went through the course. We work very hard to make sure that we have happy clients. Happy clients means you learn how to build this stuff. If you don't know how to code, it's my responsibility to make sure that you learn how to code and that you actually get pretty proficient at it. And again, I can't guarantee it, but I am willing to bet that we could probably make you some pretty damn good money going through this. Legally, I cannot say I'm going to make you money, and I cannot guarantee it because, again, like, who knows if the world is ending next week? I mean, I'm sorry, we're all screwed, but I'm willing to bet that going through this, if you run some of these strategies, you'll probably make some good money doing this stuff, right? That's not a guarantee, but that's a bet that I'm willing to make, right? Cool. So that's pretty much it for our class today. Any questions around anything that we covered? You guys probably wrote some questions already, so let me flip back over here. All right. Okay. Not yet. Okay, so I'll give you guys a little bit of time to write out some questions, but you guys have asked questions throughout, which is nice. But now is kind of the last chance you guys have while we're live here on this call. If you have any questions for me. I'll also, by the way, share my email, rob@lumiwealth.com. And if you want to join our Discord, I'm very active on Discord. Right. Again, I'll reshare that link. So if you want to contact me, if you have any questions, you could ask them there. But again, I am live right now, right? So if you have any questions, let me know. Okay? I'll hang around for a little bit for any questions you guys have. This is, I think it's a dead obvious thing to do. I'll be honest with you. But maybe you guys have some questions around this. It's people ask me about this. What's the downside to this? I think the only real downside is that you'll probably have to put in some work to build these things. But once you've learned how to build these types of algorithms, not only can you make a ton of money for yourself, you can make a ton of money for other people. There's a lot of really good jobs around this as well. This is a very lucrative thing. As we went through earlier, some of the richest people in the world do this stuff, and it's not by accident, right? It's a very valuable field, right? Investing, learning how to invest well, and computers are the future of the world. If you don't believe that, I don't know how I can help you, but I am very, very strongly in the belief that the future of investing is all going to be automated. I think pretty much anything in the future is going to be automated, but investing is going down that path much faster than a lot of other things. And, if you're not automating your investing, I don't know what you're doing, and good luck to you. But, I'd rather automate this stuff. I'd rather not have to be sitting there in front of a computer trading all day. And I'd rather be making more money because I'm using data to actually figure out whether there's a good investment decision or not just winging it because someone in a taxi cab told me to buy Dogecoin. You know what I mean? Like, actually use a data-driven approach to investing, right? I think that's a much smarter way to do it. And, it's not even just my opinion. You could see the success rates of people that have actually done this. So anyways, that's my spiel. I'm going to wait a little bit longer if you guys have questions. I know it can take a little while to type this out, and I know there's a bit of a lag between when I'm saying things and when you guys get it. So I'll give you guys a few more seconds to write out some questions. But again, you have my email there that I left. You have the Discord. You could ask me questions on Discord or other people as well. On there. So Yeah. We spent a lot of time building these courses. You know, going forward, I think we're going to be spending a lot more of our time building out our software products to make this even easier for people to use, and even easier for people to make money doing this stuff, because you know, this is the future. You know, I personally have the ambition. I wanted to like change the whole hedge fund industry. You know, that's what I'm working towards. So one step at a time, right? Cool. All right. So I'm not seeing you guys type out anything. So I'm going to assume that you guys don't have any questions. Any more questions than you asked already earlier. So again, there's my email address, rob@lumiwealth.com. You can also join us on Discord here as well. And yeah, I hope to see you guys in this class. It doesn't start until March, but again, there's an early bird special going on. So I hope to see you guys there, and let's make some money together. Let's do it. All right. Marvis says, looking forward to the change. Thanks for your time. Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate you guys. Thank you very much for being here, and I hope all of you have a great night. Cheers, guys.